out here after 30 years, yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts. Shout out to everybody out there on Team Banky Pound, man. Much love, much respect. I appreciate the support. We back at it again, y'all. We back at it again. 33 years of prison stories. Before we get started, I'm trying to, remind y'all to subscribe, like, share these videos. And if you're not subscribed, man, shame on you. They tell me that 70-some% of the people who watch my YouTube is not subscribed. So if you're watching it, you must enjoy the content. You must enjoy this good, positive energy. So go ahead on and hit that button. Take time to do that. And like this video. And I've been told it moves everything around in the algorithm and it spreads the video out far and wide so more people will get this good energy, this good positive vibe. And that's what we're looking for. We trying to spread this stuff and make it contagious, See there? Almost choked over. That's how, we want to make it contagious. We want to spread it around so that everybody gets some of this positive energy that we passing it out over here on Team Banky Pound. So salute to everybody on TBP. Salute to everybody who's been pushing this thing and making these numbers grow. And we're going to keep on moving forward. So with that being said, I got a good one for y'all today. As you can tell by the title, I'm going back to the home team, DC. And I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about one of my big homies, man, Big A, man. Big A, DC soldier for sure. Man, I can remember when I first met Big A, man. Big A, man, to give you a little history on Big A was a big dude. First of all, hence the name. He was a big dude, man, probably about 6'4", 6'5", big old dude, man. But he was a big, lovable, funny guy, man. A big, lovable, funny guy, always cracked jokes and all that stuff until he got pissed off and locked in on that, and then he went from lovable and funny to super dangerous, man. Super dangerous. Big A ain't play no games. He come out of that Lorton. He had been in Lorton, and if y'all don't know, Lorton is the prison for everybody that gets in trouble and get convicted in DC. 9 times out of 10, you going to Lorton. And he had been through all of that. He had been through Lorton from his younger age, teenage years, up to his young 20s and stuff. And then he ended up in this system in Virginia. But when you go through Lorton, man, that's a different type of animal. That's a different type of prison right there. Them dudes in there was on another level, man. They was carrying it to a whole nother degree. And especially when you go in there at a young age, you're going to be indoctrinated into some things that is going to be instilled in you about how to do time. So he did time, even though he was in the Virginia system, he did time on with a Lorton mentality. And everybody that I knew that did time with a Lorton mentality in Virginia, man, was a force to be reckoned with, to say the least. And 9 times out of 10, they was just pro-DC. And when I mean pro-DC, I mean that's who they rock with. That's who they gonna roll with. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's the home team, and that's who they going with. So if you had a problem with a dude from DC, with one of these pro-DC dudes around, then you had a problem with him. And that's how Big A was. Big A was the big homie. He was older. Like I say, he was seasoned by this time. And, like I say, he ain't play no games, man. He ain't played no games whatsoever. And little incidents that I can remember Big A being in is just so many, off the top of my head. Like, I done seen him on several occasions have cell partners, man. And next thing you know, they look like they all right, they cool or whatnot. And then next thing you know, we might be in there count time and you hear a little ruckus and police come running in and everything and they going straight to Big A cell. Next thing you see Big A coming out, all handcuffed up, mean mugging. Yeah. He got the right one. And next thing you know, they take him on up out there. Then they'll bring the celly out there on the stretcher, bloody, going to medical, going to medical, man. Big A, I don't know, man. It's like I say, it was his personality. Once he all right, he cool. Like I say, when he laughing and joking, he cool. But then he'll get in those modes, man, whereas he just grouchy all the time. He looking for something to snap about, he on edge at any moment. The least little thing will set him off, And that happens, man. That happens to a lot of people, as I learned over the years of me doing time. That happened to a lot of people that's doing time, because they get bitter, they get angry, they get frustrated, they get irritated. And most of the time it's because of their situation. It's because of their situation, the environment, and what they're going through, and there's no outlet. You know what I'm saying? There's no outlet. Everybody around you got their own personal problems. Everybody around you is going through their own thing. Everybody around you is being oppressed, suppressed, depressed, because of their situation. So it ain't no need to complain. Ain't nobody trying to hurt. Ain't no need to look for relief. It ain't coming. So you in a powder keg, And this is another reason why I tell you, young fellas, that prison is so dangerous, man, because it's so much going on in such a small space, and there's no outlets. There's no outlets. Everything is just compact in there. It's nothing you can do. It's nothing you can do, and there's no relief in sight. So you have to, have all of these emotions and all of these feelings and all of this stuff going on inside you with no way to let it out. So when you do let it out, 9 times out of 10, it comes out in an act of violence. It comes out in a burst of anger. It comes out in a burst of aggression because it's been pent up inside you so long. Somebody usually catch the blunt of it. And a lot of times it don't be the person that was actually meant for. It just be the person in your vicinity at that time, at that moment, that is coming out of you. So like I said, these are things I learned over, a period of doing time. I was not that knowledgeable at this time that we're speaking about, but in retrospect, I look at it and I see this is where it comes from. But that's how Big A was. He was, like I say, he was like a sleeping lion, man. But when you woke him up, you had a problem, And then, truth be told, like I say, from time to time, he liked to indulge. He liked to, to get high. So if it was something on the compound that he liked to do, then he wanted it. He wanted something. And if he didn't have the money, he tried to get it on credit. If he couldn't get it on credit, then he wanted to get it, the ski mask way, the fast way. He's gonna take it. He's gonna take it, and he'll take whatever repercussions come with it. That's just how he carried it. That's how he rolled. And that brought him a lot of drama. Over the years that I was around, he stayed in and out of trouble, in and out of segregation, in and out of beefs with people, in and out of beefs with different cities. Because if he beef with somebody, he the big homie, dude's gonna roll with him. And then if dude's rolling with him and back in his hand, whoever he beefing with, that city, that people gonna roll with him. So it can get real messy real fast, when you dealing with dudes on his caliber, on his level, because like I say, he a big homie from the city, and dudes know that he gonna do whatever it takes to prevail in any situation. But at the same time, it's an obligation to back his hand at whatever he do, because like I say, he rep that city, so that city gonna rep him. So yeah, Big A, man, he was a good dude though, man. And the ironic part about it is, at the time that I was around him, I was so young and I was already wild myself. He even talked me down a couple of times in situations, especially when it came to a homie. Because mind you, I'm young. So I never, really wanted to get into beef with anybody, let alone a homeboy, because it was so few dudes in there from DC. So you try not to never beef, but hey, truth be told, man, you got Bamas everywhere. You got Bamas ain't just from this city. There's Bamas in DC too. You know what I'm saying? And all my homies out there know what I'm talking about. So you got Bammers everywhere. So just because someone is from your city does not mean they can't be a Bammer as well. You see what I'm saying? That's irony in prison that I acknowledge as well. You know, you go to prison and the people on the streets that you knew on the streets end up in prison as well, who may have been your opposition, may have been your enemies. Those people become your allies in prison. That your opposition is now your allies because you have to band together. You feel what I'm saying? That's crazy. And people come in prison and like everybody from where they're from and don't like nobody from where they're not from, which is crazy in itself because the people that are not where you from, you have never been around them. You don't know anything about them. You never had any beef with them on the street because you're not where they're from. But the people that are where you from are the people that you fought growing up, are the people that you had arguments with, the people that you had beef with, but now they're your allies. Prison is different, man. Is different. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is. You can have, like I say, an enemy on the street, but in prison, if he's from where you from, he has to be your ally in an effort to survive this ordeal that we all are in. You know, this hell that we have put ourselves in is survival of the fittest. And sometimes you have to band together and stick together because, like I say, they have riots and stuff. And when them riots and stuff come, man, it gets messy. It gets messy and it gets bloody and people get hurt. And you have to pick a side whether you want to or not. Now, I ain't never been a dude that in my bit, man, I never been a dude to just say, okay, well, everything that comes along, then I'm gonna jump with it. Or if anybody is against DC, then I'm against them. No, it was anybody that's against me, then I'm against you. Now, if you come at me and you like, well, FDC and you too, Banky, then, you know, it's on. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get what you're looking for. You're gonna get what you're looking for. But if it's just FDC, I don't own DC. You understand me? I don't own DC. But if you get in my vicinity and you saying it and I think you trying to say it in a slick way, like you shooting shots at me, okay, then you're going to get what you're looking for. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't go out of my way to look for trouble just because somebody didn't like DC or somebody is got something negative against everybody from DC. You got something negative against me, then okay, that's what it is. But it also, in the same retrospect, if it's something big going on, if it's a riot, if it's big tension between this and DC, and everybody are going to associate me from being from DC, then my antennas is up. I'm already on guard. I'm already prepared for whatever because I figure if they come at that, they coming at me. You know, so if you come at me, I'm coming at you. That's just how it is. You know, so those are different dynamics, man, in prison, man. Like I say, a lot of things to deal with, a lot of moving pieces going on when you in that belly of the beast, you know. And like I say, the best option is, and the only option is not to be in there. Because when you get in there, man, you live in a different world. And survival is the number one, that's the number one thing on the menu, brother. That is the number one thing on the menu is survival. Because without that, everything else is futile. Without survival, everything else is futile, man. So you have to survive at all costs. So, like I said, those were some of the dynamics and the politics that we was dealing with in prison at the time. And like I say, Big A, man, he's a warrior. You know, he gonna be on the front line no matter what it is. He gonna step up. He gonna say something. Something be said. He gonna speak up. If he heard DC, he said, huh? You know, his ears perk up. Who you talking about? What you talking about? He was one of those type of cats, you know. And y'all out there from the city, y'all know the type I'm talking about. He ain't playing no games. But like I say, I can remember I was arguing with a DC dude. He was a cold bammer. My homie, but he was a cold bammer, always jaw-jacking and saying things that he ain't had no business saying. And he said something to me one day. And I spoke on it, and he got louder and got more foul out his mouth, and I was getting ready to give him that business. And I can remember Big A was trying to talk me down, and I was trying to tell him, nah, he deserved his work, man, you know. And he wasn't scared. He wanted some work, but it wasn't gonna turn out the way he thought it was. But he wanted some work. But Big A was trying to, explain the politics to me during that time. He said, man, we can't be fighting each other, man, because the Bama see us fighting each other, and then that's divide and conquer, man. We got to talk our situations out, work the situations out, man, if need be. It ain't never got to get that drastic, which in hindsight is true. But when you young, you got that testosterone in you, and you got that, hey, don't play with me. It's hard to receive that message that he was giving. And then the ironic part about that is you couldn't tell him that when he got mad. When he got mad, he ready to do whatever to whoever. So I just, like I say, I remember him, man, always, being on that front line though, man. He stayed on that front line. He played softball a lot. He played basketball a lot. And anytime he in any one of them situations, any foul word could get you, bloop, bloop. He'll take off in a minute, and he willing to put that work in with a moment's notice. He ain't playing, and people knew that with him. They understood that with him. The administration knew that he was a problem because, like I say, he was a big dude. And he wasn't even big like with muscles and all that. He was just a big dude, like one of them big old healthy husky dudes, you know what I'm saying, with a big old heart. So you got a problem when you're dealing with him, And like I say, most of the dudes he hung with, or all of the dudes he hung with, they're going to either be his homeboys or they're going to be somebody that's from that city that he really, really like. And it don't matter what the age is. He hung with dudes his age, dudes younger. Because, like I say, he was the big homie, on the compound at the time, like the older dude, and had did the most time. He had did the most time of everybody on that compound from the city at that time that I knew of, right? I think at that time, Big A already had like a good, man, he might have had a good 25, 30 under his belt, or close to it. He was inching up on it, So yeah, that was some of them incidents that I could recall with him. But like I say, when something pop off, if it's DC involved, he out there and he want to know, and he gonna talk up and he gonna speak up, and he ain't gonna be playing, and he gonna want to know some answers. If he don't get the answers that he like, then something gonna pop off. You know what I'm saying? Because he gonna make it pop off. And I can remember the incident, man, that really like changed everything about his situation. I can remember we used to play basketball a lot back in them days, and like I say, he was tall, he was a little older, but he still had a little game. He'd go in there, he'd play every now and then too, and get in there, wreak havoc in the paint. But I can remember, man, I was playing basketball a lot then too back in the day. I could shoot and everything, but you had some high flyers in there, man. You had dudes in there that could have, been on college teams and NBA, prospects and everything. Young dudes, man, high flyers, mean with the basketball, man. You had a lot of talent in prison, man. A lot of talent wasted in prison as well. You in there shining for people that can't see you, playing and going back to a cell. So a lot of talent wasted, man, when you kill your potential, man, when you just sit in time out for that long. You never know when you're never gonna get your youth back. And once it passed, it's gone. You never know when your skills gonna start to erode. So you just really wasting time when you're in prison, and you wasting talent as well. So I seen a lot of that happen to a lot of dudes that could have, been, far more than what they became because of the bad decisions that they made that ended them up in prison, and just let their talents and their skills erode in prison. Only for dudes that's locked up with them to see things that the world should have been seeing and the world should have been able to watch. But that's just the nature of the beast when we make these decisions, man. Be safe, be smart, make good decisions. That is why. But with that being said, man, I remember back in the day, I'm gonna say time frame, we talking maybe 90, 89, 90, 91, somewhere up in that range right there, not far off. I can remember we going to on Augusta. We on Augusta. I'm going to Redneck City. Redneck City, Augusta at the time. But we go to the gym to play ball, and You know, when you in there playing ball, they running whole courts, everybody trying to get next, everybody trying to get on the court, everybody trying to stack their team, pick their team, get the good players so they can stay on the court or whatnot. So a lot of beef done broke out over that basketball, man. Fights, stabbings, head busts. I mean, everything over basketball. Over basketball. You see what I'm saying? This is the divide and conquer that happens when you're in prison. They put you in these positions where you're going to be pitted against each other, and then your only alternative is to try to kill each other. When actuality, we not oppressing each other, they are oppressing us. But it has been turned on us where we feel like we can't go at them, so we go at each other. You see what I'm saying? It's a vicious game, man. It's a vicious game, and when you don't know it and you don't understand it, this is what happens. You know, dog eat dog. You feel me? So, you know, I can't count the incidents, the violence, the bloodshed, the chaos that I have seen over sports in prison. I can't even count it. I could just talk about that from here to the end of time. That's how much I have seen in 3 decades in prison that has jumped off over playing sports, watching sports, or talking sports in prison, you know. So that's what happened with this incident. You know, everybody in there playing, and then you got a homie. We had a little young homie. As I told you, Big A is the older guy on there that's from up the way, and we had a young homie on there. I remember his name. We called him Iceberg, right? Let's say Iceberg. And he was saying that he had next in the game, and another dude was saying he had next in the game, right? So they sitting there, they arguing about who got next in the game, and one dude is from a city, and Iceberg is from DC, right? I ain't gonna say the city name because it's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? And it's still probably some emotions caught up in this incident, right? Because these, like I told y'all, these is real stories, true stories, 33 years of real prison stories. So these are real people and real events. So with that being said, man, I remember they arguing about who had next, right? And Iceberg was arguing with the dude, I say his name is Cook. He arguing with Cook. So Big A comes in the gym, right? And he just walks straight in, and he's trying to look around and survey the gym, and he see Iceberg over there in a little heated conversation with, oh, well, I'm playing next. Oh, I'm playing next. Oh, no, you ain't. It's my next. No, man, all of this going on. Big A walks over there and asks, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So he said, nah, man, I told him I had next. He told me he had next, him and them dudes and all that. They want him in here. I called next first and all this and all that. So Big A just cut to the chase. He said, man, my man said he got next. That's who got next. Ain't nobody else getting on that court. So dude tells him, man, you just came in here. You ain't got nothing to do with it. Big A don't do no whole lot of talking. Big A said, okay, yeah, you right. Turns around, walks out the gym, leave, right? They still arguing about who got next. They still going back and forth, saying when the game over, who gonna play, who gonna get on the court or whatever. Man, they couldn't have been no more than 6, 8 minutes, somewhere up in there, less than 10 minutes, because the game was still going on. Big A came back in the gym, walked straight up in there, walked straight across the floor, straight to the dude Cook, and said, who you say had next? Put that Bethlehem in him. Put that Bethlehem in him, and all hell broke loose. Everybody in there running around, screaming, hollering, he holding himself, trying to get up out of there. And Big A is tucked this junk and getting ready to get up out there. You know, so it's chaos now. Now dudes is tension there. Everybody getting ready to fight. It's just a mad scene, you know. But this dude just got hit up and he's leaking all because of words over a basketball game. And the crazy part about it, it wasn't even Big A's beef. He's taking up for the little homie because he feel like that's his job. That's his duty. You know, anything going on with DC, he with it. And that's what happened. So now it's chaos, man. Everybody running around there. The police done got involved. So everybody trying to get up out there. They come and see what's going on. Dude get ready to get rushed to medical. I don't know if he had to hit the helicopter or what, but I know he was messed up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody dropped a dime. Big A ended up getting locked up. He going to the hole for the situation. You know, Iceberg's still out there though. He going to the hole for the situation. Cook going to the hospital. We on lockdown. It's just a crazy situation. All that fast. That fast. That's how fast something will pop off in the penitentiary over something that small. People can lose their life. People can lose their life over the smallest thing. They could have been avoided, could have been talked out, could have been worked out. We could have shared it next. You pick a guy, I pick a guy. You know, those things. But this is what happened. You know, now you got a dude going to the hospital, probably fighting for his life. You got one going to the hole, probably going to get street charges. And you got a bunch of tension there between two different cities. You see what I'm saying? So, Big A locked up. Cook going to the hospital, you know. And like I say, Iceberg's still out there. So what happens is they tell they tell Iceberg, man, you know, the homie, man, he rode for you, man. You know what I'm saying? All these dudes out here running their mouth and acting like they with it. You gotta represent because he back there for you. You know what I'm saying? If that old boy Cook come back and he hit that yard, man, you gotta straighten that, dog, cause that was your beef. You know what I'm saying? Man, Iceberg said he ain't had nothing to do with it. He didn't tell Big A to get with it. That was his own decision. He don't want no smoke. He don't want no drama or nothing. He ain't trying to get involved with none of that type of situation. Man, that was like the worst thing he could have possibly said. Because we had some other homies that, you know, they ready to go and they back in Big A hand all the way, and they know now that he in the trick box, so they ready to ride. And they telling him, let's go, and he's saying no. Now they looking at him like, man, the big homie did it all for you, and you telling me something, no, you know, like he's suckering out. So now they mad with him. The anger that they got then turned to him now. Because like, man, you gonna let dude go through all that for you, and then you gonna act like a chimp. So it was crazy, man. It was getting wild. And they turned around, man, and they was like, okay, they rocked him to sleep. They told him, okay, this is when the gang get tricky. You see what I'm saying? Because these is your own homies. But they not respecting the fact that you not going to ride for something, and you not going to ride for the city, you not going to ride for yourself, and you going to let a homie go down for you. And you just going to sit back and say you don't want nothing to do with it. They won't have it. You know what I'm saying? They won't have it, man. So two homies, man, they was going to work the next morning. They knew where he worked at. They waited for him that morning. He came around there, and they put that work in on him. They put that work in on him. He ended up going to the hospital himself. He ended up going to the hospital himself because he didn't represent when it was time to represent. You see what I'm saying? This is prison now. This is the dynamics in prison. Now they ready to ride on the other side, but at the same time, they gonna deal with you too if you ain't gonna stand up. You see what I'm saying? Now whether you want that drama or not, now you in that drama. That's just what it is. So yeah, man, they gave him the business, and he ended up going to the hospital as well. You know, the two homies got locked up. Now Cook, he comes back from the hospital and he messed up, but he gonna survive. He all right. He making it, but he telling the people he don't know who did what to him, right? He don't know who did what to him. Now Big A get the word back there that what happened to Iceberg, and the Iceberg was gonna be like, I ain't telling him to do it, this, that, and the third. Now he feel, you know, really bad that he even made the move that he made, because he feel like, man, I made a move for you and you ain't even gonna stand up for yourself. Now I'm in the trick bag. So he back there feeling like he regret what he did. You see what I'm saying? He regret what he did. And being that Cook ain't telling on him, then he is just stuck. He's just sitting back there in the investigation. They can't prove the case. They got no witnesses. Cook saying he didn't do it, but they don't want to let him out because they think that it's going to be some drama if he come out on the compound, right? So he had to go through all these things for months and months in the hole trying to get out. He done wrote the dude Cook a letter. Cook and him corresponding, saying they trying to squash the beef. Can Cook sign a letter saying that, you know, they not enemies and stuff, so he can get out because they not going to transfer him. And only recourse he got is to get back on the compound. Only way he can get back out if they know there's no enemy situation out there. So they corresponded with each other through letters and everything about, look, man, I apologize. I'm sorry for what I did or whatever. You know, we can straighten it however you want to straighten it, but I'm trying to squash it. Boom, boom, boom. The understanding was that Cook had agreed to it. He even told Cook, man, I'll give you something for compensation, man, just to squash that beef. You know what I'm saying? That's that. I'm just trying to get back on the compound. They suppose they came to some type of understanding, right? And Big A come back out on the yard. Months go by, but he get back out on the yard. They go out on the yard, they talk. People see him out there talking, you know, tensions is still high, but they talk. They supposed to squash the beef, they work it out. People see him talking, see him shake hands and everything. They squashed it. You know, it's over. So days go by, weeks go by, maybe a month or something, you know, and they don't walk past each other, you know, numerous amount of times. Everything is died down, don't supposed to be no tension. Everybody say that the beef is over. So we out on the yard one day, right? And Big A is out there standing there talking to somebody at the beginning of the fence where you go in at when wreck is over. Wreck is over, they done call wreck over, and the opening of the fence is right here where people go in. Big A is standing beside that spot talking to somebody. And people is walking by, coming in, going in. They standing there kicking it or whatever. And then Cook comes up. As soon as Cook gets close to him, you see as Cook pulling up and he pulls out a knife. And lo and behold, Cook pulls out the knife and hit him. Boom, boom, and take off running. Big A grabs his side and doubles over. It was an ugly situation. It was a mean situation. And people started moving around, chaos. Dudes started rumbling. It just stuff popped off. Man, Big A ended up having to get helicoptered out there. Almost lost his life. His lungs collapsed. Almost lost his life. That's crazy. But over a situation, a beef, an argument that wasn't even originally his argument. It wasn't even originally his beef. And he almost lost his life. I don't know how long, I can't remember exactly how long he stayed in intensive care in the hospital or whatever, but I do know he almost lost his life with that situation. He ended up letting Cook rock him to sleep, make him think everything was all right, make him think it was over, make him think that they can make peace. How? How can you make peace when you don't put a hole in somebody? You can never let that person be around you again and let your guard down. Not in prison, I don't think nowhere in life. But he was made to believe that because he wanted to believe that. Because he wanted to be back out on the yard. He wanted to be back out there in population. So he made himself believe that when he know the rules of the game and he know that was a no-no. And that mistake almost cost him his life. Now, mind you, Cook, just real talk, he won't even built like that. Cook won't no gangster. He won't no, thugged out dude. He for real, truth be told, he was an intellect. He played chess a lot. He talked smart. He knew a lot about, like little politics and little things like that. Newsworthy stuff he knew. He was kind of more or less like a nerd. Anybody who know him will tell you that's what they were perceiving. Oh, he was a nerd. He just was locked up for a situation that he got himself into. But in all actuality, he was the furthest thing from a thug. But he let other people charge him up. You see, you'll get people that'll talk you into doing some things that they wouldn't even do if they was in the same situation. But people will get behind, oh, I do this, I do that. You probably wouldn't have did nothing. Probably would have did less. But they would tell you, and that will boost you up and put you in a position where you feel the pressure to do something that's not even really in your nature. You see what I'm saying? But that's what the situation was. He ended up, You know, like I say, fighting for his life. You know, Cook ended up getting locked up or checked in or whatever you want to call it, go to hole or whatever, and it just built up the tension again. Now it's the tension again between the two cities because it's like that was some some snake stuff. But in all actuality, all fair in war, man, it's war. When you at war, there is no rules. The rules is to survive. That is the rules. Period. Just to survive. By any means necessary. And that's what it came down to. So, man, I remember the time it happened. Like I say, I was younger then. I was more in a war frame of mind. I was like, anybody get near me gonna get the business. You know what I'm saying? I was like ultra paranoid. I'm like, okay, that's what it is. That Bethlehem stayed with me like a like skin. Because I won't going for that. I won't try to go out on no stretcher. I won't try to go out on nobody helicopter. I ain't even never been on a helicopter. I definitely ain't want to be on one, hoping somebody gonna save my life. Nah, man. So yeah, I just remember that time. It was crazy, man. And it was lessons though. Those was lessons to be learned. Those were lessons. Those were shaping my mind and shaping my way of doing time. And see, like I say, although I say Cook was not a gangster, but he did a gangster move. You a gangster now? Now you a gangster. Once you in there, you are forced to be things that you may not be. And once you become that, then that's who you are. Now he's a gangster. You don't put that Bethlehem in somebody, you can't go back from that. See, now you're considered to be dangerous. Not just a nerd, but now you considered to be dangerous. So now everybody who deal with you is going to deal with you on the basis that you dangerous. You understand what I'm saying? So if you got beef or if you got an argument, they're going to be dealing with you now on the basis that they think you dangerous. So that's how they coming at you as well. See, there ain't going to be no all you and no me. People coming at you like you come at them. Right? If you a killer, they know they can't deal with you unless they willing to kill. So this is what you don't put yourself in. So now you got to represent that. You got to represent that. And you talking about people with unlimited amount of time, people with life sentences, people with 60 years, 80 years. This is what you got to represent now. This is the reputation that you got to uphold, because if you lose your reputation in prison, guess what? You lose your life. You lose your life. If you not are who you say you are, you might lose your life. Good chance you will. Especially if who you say you are is a gangster, a go hard, a touch off. If that's who you say you are, then when push comes to shove and the cards are on the table, that's who you better be. That's who you better be, man. Because if you not, then they coming at you like a pack of wolves, man. And they trying to eat your face off. And real talk, they trying to eat your face off. And it's like I say, man, it's a savage life, man, that you got to live. And why people will glorify it or come out here and let y'all think anything different is beyond me. I like I tell you, I was talking to my daughter just today, and I was like, man, I can't see it, man. I can't see it. Like I say, to have to do that again, to go through the things I went through, to travel that journey again, I don't even think I could muster up what it takes to do that. The fortitude, the mental fortitude, the physical fortitude, the emotional fortitude, the spiritual fortitude to go down that road again. It's a rough road, man. It's a rough road, man. With no relief in sight. So that's why a lot of dudes crash and burn. A lot of dudes crash and burn because of what they facing and what they dealing with, man. I can remember running into Big A years ago, years after that, and him telling me how he regretted that. How he really messed that up by misreading the situation and knowing better. I know he knew better. He had been in the Lord, and I knew he knew better. And he let what he wanted supersede what the reality was. See what I'm saying? And a lot of us do that. You let what you want supersede what the reality is. You want this, so you'll make that square fit in a circle. When you know it don't fit in a circle, but you want it to, so you'll twist your thinking up into thinking that it can. And that can cost us, man. We got to be able to read the signs and know the truth when we face with the truth. But better yet, deal with the truth as it is. Deal with it as it is, and don't try to distort it, because doing that is going to put us in a dangerous situation. Because now we're not dealing with reality. We're dealing with a fantasy. And we all know anything happens in the fantasy world. Anything happens in the fantasy world. So we can't distort the truth. We can't distort reality, man. And like I say, prison, man, is a different type of animal. And for people who ain't never been in there, it's just a different type of animal. And it will consume you. It will consume you, because when I first go in and stuff and I'm seeing all these different things and experiencing all these different things in the first couple of years, I'm like overwhelmed at every turn. But then at the same time, your brain is like a computer, it's processing. And I'm processing all of this information, all of this interaction, all of this stuff that's going on. I'm processing it. And I'm processing it, and without me even knowing it, just like when you were a baby and you were breathing and you struggling to breathe and you trying to learn how to breathe and coughing, and then next thing you know, you're just doing it as natural. And that's how it was for me. All of this chaos and confusion, it became the new norm. It became the new norm. It was normal. When I heard somebody screaming and yelling, or somebody, getting their head bust open, or somebody over here rumbling, or somebody stabbing, I more or less anticipated seeing that. When I didn't see it, after a while, that became like unnormal. Especially like the first beginning of my bit, man, like the first half, maybe the first 10, 15, 16, 17 years, it was different than the last, bit of my bit. It was different. First half was different than the second half, because now things had started to taper off. The violence had started to taper off. They had started to try to, counter that with building all these new prisons and putting all these new rules in effect, starting the control movement. The control movement was, man, it was a bloody transformation. It was a bloody, mean transformation where they decided that they was going to stop all this free movement, what we call free movement, that we had in prison, and put it in what they call control movement, where everyone on that compound at every moment, at every point of the day, was structured to be here, 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 and here. Whereas when I first came into prison, when them doors open in the morning, then after the count was clear, you can be ripping and running. You could go from this building to that building, go to the yard, leave the yard, go to the gym, leave the gym, go back to the yard, just in and out, ripping and running. You had to be back where you were supposed to be at count time. And that created a whole lot more freedom in prison than people is afforded right now. Everything now is control movement. So when they try to take that away, them dudes rebelled to the fullest, and we had riots, and yeah, I can remember that riot specifically. Specifically, I can remember that riot. And me and my homeboy was just talking about that last night. And I'm going to do some stories about me and him soon too. Who's one of my best friends, or my best friend throughout the majority of my bit. My brother, Dixon, y'all heard me speak of him before. We was just talking last night on the phone, reminiscing about situations and stuff. And I was telling him I'm going to start doing some series of stories about things that me and him went through, battles that me and him fought with others, and things that we had to deal with, doing this bit, man. But yeah, I can remember that, man. But so, that's just how much times have changed in the prison, man. But when you in there, man, and you're in the midst of all of this stuff, it's just, it's unlike anything that I could fully put into words to make you understand. I try to paint y'all a picture, to give y'all a graphic of what it was like on a day-to-day basis, but it's hard to explain. It's very hard to explain because, like I said, a lot of it was so normal to me that it didn't even seem like newsworthy or something that people want to know, because it was like everybody who was around me already knew these things because they see these things as I see these things. But I realize now that I'm out here and it's new to y'all, because a lot of us, when we was in there, like I said, we didn't tell our families. We didn't tell people on the outside how it was. And I think that's a lot of the philosophy, too, of why dudes come out here and say, oh, it won't that bad, man. Oh, yeah, I did them stuff, man. It won't nothing. I think that's part of the reason of, that misinformation. Because dudes don't want people to feel sorry for them. They don't want people to worry about them. They don't want people to have all of this worration and all this stress on them that we have on the inside that is to no fault of your own, but y'all can't do anything about it. So why even let you know? It was nowhere in the world I would tell my mother the things I was facing in there, the thoughts I had, the suicidal moments, the homicidal moments. I wasn't going to tell my mother that for what? What purpose would it have served her besides worration? It was no need to. So I dealt with what I had to deal with as I had to deal with it, and wherever the chips fell, that's where they fell. That's how I dealt with my whole bit. I never, let them know the extreme of what I was going through, because I knew it served no purpose. So I think a lot of other people do that too, but I think where it get misconstrued is when they come home and they don't tell the full story so people can learn from it. So people can be, deterred and misdirected from going to prison. Don't get it in your head that, oh, I could go there and be all right. I come out and, come out bigger, stronger, a little buff and, no, bro. It don't work that way. You may not come out at all, period. Even people with a release date don't have to make it to a release date. They don't. And I know plenty who didn't, So a release date don't get you out of prison. Having 2 years versus a man having 2 life sentences, it ain't no telling which one of y'all gonna come out of prison. And that's real talk. It ain't no telling which one. I've known people that had less than 5 years and ain't come out, they went to the morgue. And I've known people that have multiple life sentences who out here walking free right now. So it's nothing guaranteed when you step on the other side of that wall. Not a thing. Nothing. All bets are off. And it's open season, man. And your only rule is to survive. Period. To survive for as long as you can, and hopefully till you can walk back on the other side of the wall. That's it. That is it, man. So, when I think about these things, man, I feel blessed. I feel mightily blessed, man, to even be out here, to be able to express these things to y'all. That's why I say I feel like it's my duty, because I used to have nightmares. I used to have nightmares of like my brother or people that, that I love coming in there, or my nephews or something, because I knew what they would have to deal with. I knew what they would have to face. And then your mind runs over all these crazy scenarios like, well, if they did get locked up, man, I hope they put them around me, or if they didn't put them around me, wherever they was at, I hope people would know that was my people, so they would. It's just crazy. It's just the anxiety will drive you crazy alone. The anxiety of, your ordeal, and you'll start even projecting that on people that you love. Like, what if? Oh, I would rather go through that for them since I'm already used to it. It's just crazy things that go through your head when you in that position. Because like I said, it's different, man. It's very, very different. But so Big A, man, he learned a valuable lesson from that, man. Valuable lesson. And I also ran into Cook years later, and heard his version about, where it was something that he felt like he had to do. He felt like it was fair exchange. They say fair exchange ain't no robbery. He felt like it was fair exchange. He did it to me. You know, I had to get him, you know. But I think in my mind anyway, it always played down to he was more or less talked into it, you know. And that could have cost him his life as well, you know. Because like I said, that's another story for another day too, because people will put you on the enemy list. When you have an incident like that happens, you automatically go on the enemy list. They never supposed to run across each other again in the Virginia penal system. But trust me when I tell you that does not always work. I've known people that had incidents like that. Well, it was that knife play in effect. That Bethlehem that went into somebody. And those two people was on separate lists. Those same two people end up on the compound again. And the one who had did the poking now was getting poked and almost lost his life. So they will mix them signals up because like I try to tell y'all, your safety is not their number one concern. Their safety is their number one concern. Although they're there for your safety, you know, they're called security guards. They're there for your safety. Their safety is number one, not yours. Not yours. And you need to know that every second that you're in prison. And I've said this many times on this Banky Pound YouTube, and I will say it a million times until y'all understand. The police is not going to save your life in prison. That is not what they're there for. They are not going to save your life in prison. So if you don't feel like you can save your own, well, prison ain't the place for you, brother. And even if you feel like you can save your own, you ain't going to know till it come down to that moment. You're not going to know until it comes down to that. Whether it's going to be fight or flight. But the only difference in prison is there's no such thing as flight. There's nowhere you can go. There's nowhere you can go. So, man, it's just it's a vicious cycle. And I speak about it with the passion that I do because, like I say, I don't want to see no young fellas go through these situations when you got so many opportunities out here waiting for you. So many, man. If you're young, your potential is infinite. Your dreams are infinite. Your dreams are only as valid as you're willing to make them. So you never have to go the route where you might put yourself in a position where you might go to prison. You might put yourself in a position where you will be years and decades away from your family, away from your loved ones. You never have to do that because your opportunities are great. Your opportunities are great, and all you have to do is exercise your opportunities and get it done. And never, ever try to take the shortcut. Yeah, there's no advantage in taking advantage, man. No advantage whatsoever. Only thing you're doing is cheating yourself. So, man, do the right thing. Do the right thing. And do what you got to do now. And you will be able to do what you want to do later in life. I preach that. I believe that. And I know it to be true. You got to put the work in now. And you will get it on the back end. If you do anything other than that, any shortcuts, you never know what tomorrow will bring. Will you have karma come knocking on your door tomorrow, next year, decade from now? But one thing for certain, karma will come knocking. Karma will come knocking. So you just want that karma to be on your side. When you do the right thing, that karma will be on your side. So when it comes knocking, it'll be great news. It'll be great news instead of the opposite, man. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. I appreciate y'all sitting there taking your time and listening to me. Like I always say, time is the most valuable commodity on earth. So for y'all to share with me means a lot to me. I appreciate you. I got more stories coming to y'all. 33 years of prison stories, man. I lived a crazy life. I'm lucky to have survived it. Now I'm going to try to share with y'all in hopes that we can help somebody, and let that just keep on flowing and flowing and flowing. And we put a little change in this world, man, with this good positive energy. So I appreciate y'all, man, for being here as always. Team Banky Pound, stand up. Much love to all my supporters. Much love to the family. And be safe, be smart, make good decisions. I'll see you next time. TBP, stand up.
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. coming out here after 30 years, yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.